This used to be impossible in BT6, and actually everything you're about to see in this video used to be impossible just a while back. So what I'm talking about is the base price of the mortar getting reduced from $750 to $600, which means that on hard mode you can buy it for $650, and guess how much starting cash you get? Yep, you get exactly $650. And now what this does is it unlocks a bunch of new 2-tower chimps combos. You guys are gonna watch 3 impossible 2-tower chimps combos now with the new mortar change. So let's see how we can make this thing happen. The first combo is gonna be with the mid-path mortar, by the way. So we're going for the 250. That's gonna be the pop and awe tier 5 in combination with the carpet of spikes. So for our first run, the reason why the carpet of spikes is impossible is because the spike starting price is $1,080. So let me just we almost missed one blue balloon there at the back, and let's see if we can actually beat this one without buying an upgrade. That's gonna be really good if we can pull it off. I don't know, it's kind of tight at the end actually. I think we might want to get the attack speed upgrade. Okay, so what? I think I can pull off round 8, but yeah, there we go. But I'm not sure if we can pull off round 9 because 9 only has green balloons and nothing else. There we go. We beat round 8. Let's move it back. I have all to start off, by the way. Okay, guys, know what? I'm actually gonna let this guy attack like right here for a second, and then we might want to pull it back just for like a green balloon or 2. So he does 2 damage per attack, which I guess at this point is not that recent of a change, but it's really important for this early game actually. So let's see if we can make this thing happen. So we have about $600. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting the attack speed upgrade. I just don't want to do it. All right, so let's get the attack speed upgrade then. Let's have it like this. Let's see how much of a difference this is going to make. I think at least should be doable at this point. So as long as we're dealing with the green blues, as long as we get the attacks going and we get the AoE going, I think round 9 is actually going to be fine. Yeah, there we go. So we got all of them. This is going to delay the spike by a tiny bit, but that's completely fine. So here goes to round 9, and then round 10 should be pretty easy because the mortar does 2 damage per attack, so it's going to be one-shotting these guys. All right, so if we beat this one, then we have the money for a spike, and then things are going to become a little bit easier. Although this, in its entirety, this is not exactly going to be a chill run, just because of the fact that we don't exactly have a lot of camo detection, if you guys are noticing. So our only camo is going to be the spike itself. Oh, I'm missing these yellows. Oh my god. Yeah, there we go. So that's round 12. Oh, am I jinxing it? That's really close. Nope, never mind. There we go with the extra attack speed. Okay, so we can finally buy the spike. Now, I'm going to have the spike like this. We want to have it on a support tile, obviously. And this is basically the only support tile that we have unlocked, which is going to give us Pierce. All right, so round 35, just checking in with you guys. So we have a 230 mortar, which allows us to pop black balloons and zebras at this point. And I'm going to get the Moab Shirt plus, I guess, the white hot spikes upgrade, because why not? We're going for this path anyways, right? So the way that we're dealing with these balloons is basically the spike is the camo detection and it's cleanup, and then the mortar just pops whatever it can at the front over here. All right, so in comes the Moab. I don't think we're going to have an issue, but I'm just going to target the Moab, the mortar just like this on the side. There goes the Moab. Let's move it back, and now let's try and save up money for the Spike Storm. So it's been pretty easy so far. I'm going to buy the Spike Storm ability now, and we're going to have to do some ability timing in the 40s actually, because round 47 is going to have a lot of camos, and then 48 is going to have camo purples. By the way, let's micro this more like this so that we make sure we don't get any. Oh yeah, these guys, some of them are regrowing. Okay, let's make sure we pop them before they reach the spike, because they can overwhelm us. Basically, we need just the spike to deal with all these camos so it's not interrupted. Let's see if we need to drop the ability. Hopefully not. I think it's gonna be fine for these guys, for the rainbows, but yeah, sometime soon we're gonna have to start dropping these abilities for the camos. All right, so here's what we're gonna do for 47. I'm gonna dump the ability like right now, and I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but we want it coming back off cooldown for 48, because 48 is gonna have purples on it. So let's see if that was, I think it was a good choice, yeah, because you want to have some spikes laid on the ground as well so these camos can bump into them. There we go. Let's see if we're gonna get the Spike Storm ability back for the, yeah, this is perfect. Look at this thing. So us using the ability on 47 early allows us to do this now, and it's gonna clear out all the camo blues in 48, and there we go. That's absolutely perfect. All right, so 51 more camos, so I'm gonna let all these camo ceramics come out, and then once they come close, let's actually dump the ability right now. Is this going to be fine? I think it's gonna be fine versus 51, but you know what's gonna be a tricky round actually? 56. Yeah, we're struggling a lot versus these mobs, huh? I mean, I've been following along these blue mobs, but this is like it's such a long route to go. What are we doing for 53? Let's use the ability, because this is kind of similar to 47 and all those camo pinks as well. So let's see if this is going to be enough. There are a lot of these guys, by the way. So do we want to dump the mortar ability as well so that we don't have any of these Moabs, or I should say Moab leftovers leak into the spike? I think we should do that actually. Okay, 3 Moabs, and these camos are not stopping. You guys know what? I'm gonna dump the mortar ability. Let's deal with that Moab. Let's move it it back, see if we can pop 2 while the ability is active. Oh, please tell me we can. Yes. Alright, that's good. So we dealt with the camos, and yeah, I think we can let this guy leak into the spikes now. Now, this next round is the exact reason why we're playing on this map on 1, 2, 3, and it's because, well, round 56 is a tricky one. So the spike ability is, well, I tried it on a different map, and the spike ability was barely not enough to pop the entirety of this round, but for, if you're playing on 1, 2, 3, you actually get +1 pierce, and I think if you time the ability correctly, you can actually snipe the entirety of 56 with just one of, oh my god, that's so close. Are you guys watching this? We have it. We actually do have it, but that's ridiculously close, and this is exactly what I was talking about. It is barely enough. It's barely enough, but we do get 56 done. That's a very annoying round. Alright, so going into the 60s with about 30k, the first tier 5 I'm going to buy is the Carpet of Spikes, because that is essentially going to guarantee us going into like late free play with absolutely no issues. I'm just thinking how we want to play 61 and 62, so let's try and save this. I guess let's try and save both abilities actually, because 62 is going to have some camos on it. Oh, this is not looking good already in 61, huh? Okay, let's do it like this then. Let's use the Mortar ability earlier so that we can get it back, and if we can eliminate like 2 mobs with this Mortar ability, that's gonna be great. I think we're getting some damage done onto the third one actually. Yeah, there we go. That's really good. I guess know what, the spike's actually at the back, so we are getting the Mortar ability somewhat back of cooldown. I mean, I would like to have it for the 45 mobs in round 62 if possible. That's gonna be nice. Alright, you guys know what, I think we're gonna have to dump the Mortar ability again, because we're even gonna have 45s after this one. So let's just snipe these guys at the front first, and then we're gonna have to, I guess let's move it back and try and do as much damage to the mob class Bloons basically. We do have the spike ability ready, and I'm trying to save it for when the camos come out, because there are gonna be some regrow camos. Yeah, regrow rainbow camos on this one, so just wait for all of them to come out, and I think it's time to dump the ability. Make sure they don't regrow if we can get a good ability off, and yeah, that's gonna deal with 62. Alright, there we go. Okay, so let's dump the spike now for this one. There are gonna be some 45s at the back, but we want to let the cooldown come off, so we don't want to pop all of them at once. And we are about 5k off of the Carpet of Spikes. I cannot wait. That thing's gonna make the game so much easier actually. That is until we reach the 90s. 90s are gonna be a story of their own, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so for this one, we are going to dump the Mortar ability. This one is actually gonna have some camo ceramics, so I really want to get rid of these mobs as soon as possible. And basically the idea is that we don't want to have the mob leftovers interfere with the spikes, because it's camo, regrow, 45 ceramics. Yeah, let's use the ability. If this holds, like, we are there, guys. But I see a full ceramic. Please don't regrow. Oh, some of them regrow actually. Yeah, this is gonna get tricky, huh? Alright, let's try a different approach. Let's use the ability like ASAP, and let's see how much of a difference this is going to make. Oh my god, that is, am I jinxing it? Oh, that was really good. Okay, so thankfully we get it done. Let's just not mess it up, because there is some RNG to these spike ability versus the camo, so let's micro it out. We are very, very close to a Carpet of Spikes, guys. Alright, we're there, just in time. Camo white Bloons. I'm not sure if we would have been able to deal with these guys, but that's completely fine, because boom, Carpet of Spikes finally done. So 83 is gonna be the round in which we finally get the money for the popping out, so bang, there we go. The second tier 5 is online. Alright, so here comes 95, and this is where things might get a little bit more tricky, because we're gonna start encountering some 45 Bloons, but so far it's been quite easy, I want to say. I've not been, moving the target point of this Mortar too much in the past few rounds, and I'm just kind of thinking what we want to do for this one, and what the consequences are going to be for the next round. So maybe we want to dump I guess we can dump the active ability once. Let's see what it does. I mean, do we want to use the Mortar ability, or do we save it? So the 45s are at the back, we get a passive one again, and yeah, that should be fine for 95. Alright, so we save the popping off. Alright, so here's the thing. I think we can dump all these abilities basically as much as we want on 96, because 97 is going to have 2 45 ZMGs, and it's going to allow for all the cooldowns to come off basically. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep dumping all these abilities as much as possible for 96. There we go. Look at this popping off, by the way. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it stops the Bloons in its tracks. That's nice to get the passive ability cooldown up as well, but also the other cooldowns. Yeah, just try and get the damage going on to these guys. I mean, spam the abilities, that I'm not exactly worried about the cooldowns, because again, 97 is incoming, so that's going to be a slow round. And there goes 96. Not even close so far, but yeah, let's see how we do on the last few ones, because I feel like 98 is gonna be a menace, isn't it? And there goes 97. Both of the abilities are ready, so here's what we're gonna do. We are gonna start dumping all abilities as soon as we have them. So let's try and get as many abilities as possible off, because this round is gonna be very, very difficult. Let's also try and micro the Mortar around, be a little bit more diligent with it, so we can actually get some damage, and not just like leave it in a spot and just forget about it, right? Okay, so have it like this. Another set of abilities coming off in a second. That is, you know, the passive abilities are doing their thing. This is exactly why I wanted to bring the card with the spikes, because this Mortar 250 not exactly the greatest at popping mob class Bloons. Oh no, the Bloons are already making it into the spike. This is not good. There's like 5 CMGs left, by the way, and we still have not dealt with the 40 fights. Okay, there's a passive ability. I'm gonna dump an active one as well, because I mean, we just need to get the damage going. That's about it. So this is gonna be the end of the 40 fights. There we go. Quite late, honestly. Okay, so now that's a passive spike going around, and I think there's an active one upcoming. Oh my god, this is so close. Yeah, let's use the active one, see what it... Oh, we're gonna need the pop and awe, I think. Yeah, you guys know what? We're gonna lose, but this is actually doable. How are we doing this time around? I think we popped all of the 45s because I was kind of focusing them down with the Mortar, so we popped them a little bit earlier, but we want to let some of these ZMGs remain intact because we want to get at least one more round of the pop and awe ability. So let me use the active spike ability now. I think this is looking a lot better than last time, but oh, the ZMGs popped. Alright, we're gonna need the pop and awe as soon as possible, and if we do get it, that is gonna save this round, because if we continue like this, we're gonna lose. So yeah, I think we are gonna get... Okay, so let's just dump it right now, and then let's just focus down all of these big Bloons, and it's... Oh my god, is the Mortar actually doing... Yes, I think it is. Yes, we do it with the pop and all, the last one. Yeah, I told you guys, this was a possible round for sure. And now the thing is, everything is on cooldown, but we don't exactly need anything versus these 45 DDTs. I don't think. I think the spike is gonna be enough. It should be enough. It's getting close, but yeah, we do pop them all. Right, there goes 99. And actually around 100 is not even going to be close, believe it or not, because we have a bunch of damage versus the bad Bloons. Yeah, this is gonna be about it. So I guess 98 was the most difficult round. I guess the early game was kind of tricky as well, just in kind of figuring it out, because you needed to plan the ability, I guess, like a round or two before, especially for the camos. And we also did restart some of these some of the camo rounds, but all in all, that is combo number 1 done. So after that first combo, the second one that we're going to be doing is the Bloon Incineration in combination with the Apache Prime Heli. Now this one was impossible because, well, obviously the Mortar used to be over 650, but the Heli price is $1,620. So this is a brand new combo which should work just fine. Actually, I don't think we're going to be encountering too many problems. With the only question that we have is if we're going to be able to afford the heli before round 20, because there are going to be some black Bloons on that one. As usual, the Mortar cannot get all of these guys, so let's just you know, we're going to have to do a little bit of early game micro, but I think I'm actually going to go for the faster reload on this one, just learning my lessons from the previous one. Let's see how we do on round 9. So hopefully we don't miss as many green Bloons, so that we're going to have, you know, a second and a third attempt at each one of them. So oh yeah, there we go. This is just like so much better than the last one, and I'm so glad it actually works like this. Yeah, there we go. So at least one round off of the heli. So only yellows in this one. Oh, we seem to be missing some of them actually. Let me see if I can snipe this one. Oh my god, I missed it. Oh, okay, got it right there. So let's move it back, and then there's like this blue Bloon, and we have to go back now for these other yellows. Hopefully we don't miss these guys. We're missing one. I think I got it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that was great. I just moved back for this group of blue Bloons. There we go. We get the money for the heli. Okay, so let's have the heli like this. And now I actually think this is going to be smooth sailing. I was thinking which crossbow we want to go for in the Apache Prime. And I think we're just going to stick with the bottom one, even though it's not going to have any camo detection. But the Bloon Incineration Mortar is, and actually, you know, starting from the Signal Flare, we're going to have a D camo. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. So this round is basically the one for which we needed to get the heli going. So let's just kind of micro the heli around. Let's see if we have enough money for the quad darts plus the pursuit. Yeah, right on the money. Okay, so let's go for the 200 on the heli. Actually, wait a minute, is that a good idea now that I think about this? Because we're gonna need the D camo on the Mortar. Did I buy this around 20 or 21? Let me just restart and see how it goes. Alright, so it seems like I bought it on round 20, which means that we have 200 bucks. Oh my god, we're gonna have to restart this whole thing because I don't think we're getting the money for the D camo, guys. Oh no, the Signal Flare is 1,000 bucks. Okay, let me quickly restart this then. Alright, so back at the same round, now doing the same mistakes, so let's go for the Signal Flare. Only 600 bucks remaining, alright. So we were not even allowed to get the quad darts upgrade even, it seems like. Alright, so now let's go back to upgrading the heli a little bit. Let's get him to pursuit. I think I want to get the attack speed next onto the Mortar because we're going to have some camo pinks on 33, and so we don't like missing those guys. So I'm just going to buy it as a 023. The crosspath is going to be 025 on the Bloon Incineration. Just going to do a quick check-in with you guys. So this run is going a lot easier than the previous one, I'm going to be honest. Let me get the Apache Dart Ship. This is right on time for, I guess, the mid-50s. And with the Apache Dart Ship, you know, you usually have nothing to worry about until the 80s, I guess. This is also a super long map, so I'm not exactly considering getting the shattering shells first. I think we're going to try and rush the Apache Prime, and then we're going to go for the bottom path mortar upgrades. Also, as you guys can see on this round 51, the D-camo seems to be just fine from the signal flare, so we're going to keep it as it is. So round 77, and we have the money for the Apache Prime, so I'm just going to buy this thing. This is going to make the game so much easier, and it turns out that so far this signal flare mortar has been just fine as D-camo. There are no more camo balloons in the upcoming rounds, so here's what I'm going to do. Well, even if they are, I think we're going to be able to get them, but I'm just going to buy the shattering shells, and I'm going to have it here towards the front because we are going to have two 45 BFBs. Actually, oh, they already popped, never mind. Yeah, so two 45 BFBs on 79, but then also a bunch of 45 BFBs and just, you know, beefier rounds in general in these 80s as we're entering free play mode. Alright, so entering the 90s, and I think it's time for us to move the mortar in this square over here because the Bloons are going to be taking, you know, making a couple of rounds around it, so it's going to be a little bit safer in decamoing them, but the money is just about there. How are we doing with these DDTs? Yeah, the Apache Prime, you know, it's dealing with the early ones, but we're gonna need the Bloon Incineration for rounds like 93 and 95, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is such a nice combo because both of these towers like complement each other really well. So let's go like this. Let's finally buy the Bloon Incineration. This is gonna be the second tier 5, and I think I'm just gonna keep moving it a little bit, you know, have it towards the front, so we defortify these balloons a little bit earlier. Some DDTs incoming on 93 as well, so let's defortify the BFBs, and then we're gonna... Are we getting all of them? Oh, never mind, we got all of them, but I think we would still want to have the mortar attack here in the intersection just so we get the wall of fire and just like the damage onto these DDTs as well. And back around 95, I set the mortar to attack here in this square for the DDTs, so 95 just to be safe, and also the wall of fire is going to be able to affect all of them, so we want to get, you know, the damage per second effect activated onto them. And let's see how we do on this one. This could be an interesting one, although I see we're dealing with all of them actually, and the majority of the work is getting done by the Bloon Incineration mortar, believe it or not. Yeah, this Apache Prime is just kind of finishing them off here on this like little vertical line, and that's basically it for 95, guys. This mortar is way too good. Now let's move it back towards the front because we're gonna have 45 mobs on this one, so we want to de-fortify them as soon as possible, but also just, you know, do a lot of damage because I think we can eliminate like easily half the round by just having the mortar targeting at the front. Yeah, there we go. Look at this thing. The ZMGs are gone. I mean, that was 96. Come on, guys. Let's just watch how quickly 98 is going to disappear because we're gonna eliminate like easily 30% of the RB on this round just by well, I'm not sure if it's 30, maybe like 20-something% of the RB, maybe more than that. But yeah, just by having the mortar just defortify all these PFBs basically. So yeah, let's go like this. Now let's move it in the like this little square, and that's all, guys. This is just so insane how good of a tower this mortar is in general. So let's see if we're gonna, yeah, this also defortifies 45 DDTs, by the way, but let's move it here in this square again, see how it's gonna work out. One of these guys is not defortified, and it wants to cause some issues, but it's not, so let's try and hit those. Oh my god, we're actually gonna lose in this one. All right, maybe my targeting was off actually. Let's do it again. Let's see if maybe my wall of fire targeting was off in the mortar and it was missing. Yeah, there we go. So now every single one of these guys is defortified. Yeah, that was it. And yeah, for the battle around 100, I mean, this is pretty much how it's gonna go. So I'm just gonna leave the mortar attack like this. We can check the pops. The Apache Prime is obviously gonna have the most amount of pops because it's been doing the majority of the damage for like the first 90 rounds or something like that. Yep, and there goes common armor 2. So around 100 done. There goes the bad balloon, and that was a lot easier than the first one, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, so the mortar is 025 611k pops, and then the heli pilot 1,430k pops. Alright, on to the last combo. Now the last combo is going to be the mortar in combination with the ace, specifically the flying fortress, and this is an impossible combo because the price of the ace is 865. Now actually I know exactly what's gonna be happening in this one because I did try it before recording this video, and I actually failed a couple of times because it seems like you need to account for some prices of some upgrades, and you need to account for certain types of balloons. This is actually not even like a complicated run. It's just you're gonna need to have a couple of attempts in certain rounds, which are usually in the 20s. So for the first few rounds, we're gonna do exactly as we did before. We're gonna start with this mortar. These are easy ones. It's just, you know, moving the mortar around. We're gonna be buying the faster reload as soon as possible, and just as we end round 11, we get the money for the ace, and it's gonna be an interesting spot. It is going to be here in the back line, and the reason for this placement on the platform is just because it's, you know, probably the best spot if you're trying to, you know, attack from the right to the left side, and then, you know, it's gonna be fully using the pierce, especially when you get the Spectre and the Flying Fortress. And let's see how we're gonna do round 15. 15 now, because this one has a lot of fast balloons, and just relying on the ace RNG and the darts hitting is not a good strategy. Oh yeah, look at this. Oh my god, we're missing. Oh my god, no, we're gonna have to redo it. Or am I gonna save it? Yes, I think I will, and then snipe the green balloon. Oh my god, this is just gonna be, yeah, this is exactly how it's gonna go, by the way, versus some zebras and some black balloons pretty shortly. Let me get the rapid reload, by the way, and we're not allowed to buy any more upgrades on the mortar as of yet. Alright, now we come the first black balloons around 20. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna buy the sharper darts. We barely don't have the money for the center pad, so this is just gonna have to be, you know, I guess maybe we can just send this guy back, and then we hope that these darts flying from the ace can somehow snipe. Oh my god, that's one thing. Do we get it? Yes, we do get it. Now just migrate out. There we go. That was actually my first attempt, so this was a very lucky thing to happen. Now here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get the centered pad, which is gonna essentially make the ace, you know, fly a little bit more in the middle, so maybe get a little bit, you know, some better shots going versus these balloons. Around 22, so only white balloons on this one if I'm not mistaken, but we're only doing like 2 damage per shot. We don't have the balloon buster, which I'm purposely opting not to buy this upgrade because this is going to save us 540, and that actually in my runs it turned out to be quite important as to buying the never miss a little bit earlier. But we've got another set of black balloons on this round, and we're going to have some zebras. So let's move the ace back and let's see if we just, this is just luck. There's I mean, I guess if you're some, you know, some ace micro savant, you could probably work it out, but I'm not the guy, so I'm just relying on luck, and it seems like we're getting very lucky onto these rounds with black balloons. That's good to see. Let's get the exploding pineapple and the spy plane because this is gonna be our camo. Okay, let's deal with these regrows now because it's regrow balloons the reason why I'm not buying the balloon buster upgrade in the more, if you guys can believe that. So I actually did buy the balloon buster, which sets you back $540, and the problem that I had with that one is round 31, I think it was, with a bunch of there's like 2 regrow zebras at the back of that round, and you guys are not gonna believe how much of an issue that creates because the ace needs to essentially hit each zebra 2 times in order for the mortar to be able to pop it. So once for the zebra layer and then once for the black layer, but because they're regrow, they're, you know, regrowing quite fast. Oh, let's actually get the ace to move back like this. Hopefully we get the RNG. The backline is getting cleared out, but we have like 2 blank balloons which we need to snipe as soon as possible, so let's go back. I think we got lucky, yeah, for sure. Let's just migrate out like this. There we go. We are getting so lucky on these zebra rounds. Like, my previous runs did not go like this. When I was testing if this thing works, it did not go like this at all. Alright, so 2.5k. This is gonna be a couple more lead balloons, but these guys are getting popped into pink, so this is what we're likely gonna need either to I guess let's move the mortar back just to kind of slow these guys down at the back, but we need to move it. Then we're gonna have the money for the never miss in a second, and that's when this game becomes super easy because the never miss and then eventually the Spectre is essentially going to win the game for you. So let's go like this. Let's snipe out these guys. The upgrade is 2755, so we're very close to it. Just make sure, oh, some yellows. Oh, there we go. And then we buy the never miss. Boom, there it is. And I'm just going to set this thing to figure 8, and this is how it's going to remain for the entirety of the game. Honestly, I'm just going to go for the balloon buster and I think up to the shell shock, and that's about it. And this is going to be necessary for the Moab on round 40, I noticed. So when the Moab pops and the ceramics come out, you want to be stunning them just for a short amount of time. Yeah, so round 39 is ending. Let's actually make sure we're microing the mortar and following along the Moab because it's not doing a lot of damage. It's doing like 4 damage, but we need that 4 damage a lot because this never miss is not exactly, you know, it's not the correct crossbat. It's the 0-2-3, so that means that we're missing out on a couple of darts. So we gotta bump up the damage by a little bit with the mortar. It's gonna be really important to just stun these ceramics as soon as they come out to make sure we're not popping them into like the wrong layers because we're popping it close to the, nah, never mind, there we go. Yeah, I was about to say we're popping it close to the exit, but yeah, we pick it up with this mortar AoE because it's just too good. And so at this point we're just going for the Spectre, which is, well, I guess the never miss is gonna hold on to the Spectre. Alright, so let's play out 49. We want to be a little bit careful, so first get rid of these ceramics, and then there are gonna be some regal rainbows at the back which might get away from us, but it's gonna be about the time at which we just buy the Spectre, so the Spectre is gonna deal with them. So let's deal with the ceramics first, just kind of move the mortar and keep moving it because some of these ceramics are gonna pop into zebras inevitably, and so we kind of want to, you know, be ahead of everything. So go like this and then just move it back. Some zebras as well, just naturally coming out, and go like this. Follow along with all of these rainbows. Make sure they don't regrow. Yeah, you guys can see how the AoE of the mortar is popping these guys into regrow zebras, which are going to become regrow rainbows. So that's kind of annoying, but we do get the money for the Spectre, and the Spectre is, believe it or not, going to be able to hold its own until the Flying Fortress, which is going to happen around 87, I think. It's very important that you don't actually buy the big one because, yes, I have made this mistake, and I know you have to keep the mortar as a 3-2-0. This is the max that you can go, or this thing is just, well, it's just not gonna work. I think this is the one, guys. So 87 40 MGs on this one, and I think the Mortar, believe it or not, might be a little bit helpful on this one. So what the Shell Shock does is it briefly, very briefly, stuns Bloons. Well, stuns small Bloons. It cannot still do it to the big ones. But because this round takes a little bit of a while, I'm actually going to move the Mortar up like this so that we get, you know, that tiny bit of like a millisecond stun so that the Spectre has time. So let's move it back like this. Not sure how helpful this is going to be, but hey, the money is just about there. It's 91.8, and let's just move the Mortar back like this, and we're almost gonna have the money. All right, so it's gonna be the start of the next one. All right, basically the money is just about there. So boom, buy the Flying Fortress first. This is actually really important because if we would have bought the big one, we would not have had the money to buy the Flying Fortress now, and that actually ends the run right there. It ends the run because the Flying Fortress can pop DDTs by itself, and the Spectre cannot. The Spectre needs an MIB village. So yeah, that's the exact reason. Look at this thing. It's round 91 and we still don't have the money to buy the big one, by the way. So yeah, we do just get the money right now. So I'm just gonna buy it. And yeah, trust me guys, I found this out the hard way. I found everything out the hard way in these like 3 runs that I did, because in almost every single run that I did, I tested it in one way or another. You know, I just kind of had to grind through basically everything that was happening in these rounds. And yeah, so this is how you basically do this one. And yeah, this Flying Fortress, by the way, just shreds the rounds, so this thing wins by itself. Even if you don't buy the Mortar, like it's gonna win, but we're gonna buy it because we need to do our 2-tower chimps. So the money for the biggest one is 30. It's actually 40k, and you do get the money. I think it was around 98. So it's just that, you know, it's just at the end. And this is a very interesting 2-tower chimps combo, right? Because you have to be very, very careful with the cash and how you spend them in the rounds and everything. It really does get close towards the end, but you do actually get the money. So it's round 90, round 98 when we buy it, just at, you know, as round 98 is like ending, I guess. And the Flying Fortress does the thing by itself. This thing is, how many pops is this thing gonna end the run with? 75k? I mean, listen, this thing carried the early game, because without it this would not have been possible, because the ace cannot pop, you know, leads by itself, and they actually do complement each other very nicely with the prices, so you actually can afford both of them in I guess in specific timings, but you can do it if you wanted to. That's a fitting Ace the Monkey 101 ace. But yeah, that's it. There we go. That is the last 2-tower chimps combo, and that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching it, and I'm gonna see you on the next one.